There we go. We are recording. So I'll do
Love.
all of the editing and stuff afterwards, and I'll let you see it before I put it out. But I'm trying to do two series at once so I can just get it done and have them
Mm,
out for the end of the year and beginning of next year. Okay.
Woosah.
Oh goodness. At the beginning, I always feel the nerves just hit me, and then I'm like, got this, you got this, you got this.
Nerves are good.
Oh goodness. Okay. Hi, and welcome to This Little Lights podcast. We worship God with no, I don't want it there. I don't want it in there. Hold on. Hi, and welcome to This Little Lights podcast. Here we are honest, truthful, and today I am so honored to have another honest, truthful, authentic, transparent, hilarious human being with me. So I am going to let him tell you exactly who he is. I have known this man for probably over 15 years in a very fun capacity. And whenever I see him, it's always love, it's always understanding, and we always have such a great time. So, everybody, this is my good friend, Cappachxno.
Hey, that's a very profound intro for me. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm happy to be here, man.
I'm happy you're here, and I mean every single word. From back in the day when we were doing the weekenders and having so much fun. And I remember
Mhm.
you always wanted to be on the coach that I was on because the food was banging, remember?
Yes, yes, and the sing-alongs.
And the sing alongs. We had so much fun and we still do. Life. And as life goes on, we start to pick up. I don't really like the word baggage, but we
Mhm.
do pick up situations, traumas, and sometimes they work themselves through, and sometimes you've got to work through them.
Yes,
So today, I would really like to talk about mental health and anxiety in particular,
my
because it's
favorite subject.
yes, I'm glad because it's nice to be able to speak to anybody else about it. And if I can be candid enough, being able to speak to a Black man about
Mm.
mental health and anxiety in itself, it's a gift and it's a blessing because I realized that I have known a lot about mental health, well, my own, but never really thought about how men handle theirs. So
Mm.
I know we're going straight in, but what I would like you to do, what I would like you to do, if you don't mind, is just
Mhm.
give us a little background into who you are, how you got to a stage in your life where you realized there was something that needed changing and what you decided to do to change it.
Okay. Um, well, firstly, I now understand that the journey of understanding yourself, honestly, is the most important journey ever that you will take. The most difficult
Ooh.
and important journey that you will take. Um, so I initially, you could say I just jumped on a couple of microphones at parties when I was raving hard when I was young. You know, used to
Mm.
travel all over to go different parties and stuff. Jumped on a few microphones, and people started to say, "Oh, yeah, you're really good at this. You're really good at this." And I didn't really see it, but I just enjoyed myself. You know what I mean? And I was raving hard. Like I used to
Mm-hmm.
go to deep south, made a lot of friends over South London, because obviously originally I'm from West London.
Yes.
Not obviously, but yeah, I'm from West London, Ladbroke Grove. So yeah, started to go on the microphone, and it comes like people was calling me to come to the parties after that. Like not obviously no payment involved, but They was like, are you coming to this party? Are you coming to that party? And yeah, I just started to go to all the parties. This was like early 90s when I just first started, sorry, late 90s when I started raving first. Started to jump on the mic and do like other people's lyrics at first. Shout out to all the jungle artists that I used to listen to, Skibber, R.I.P. Skibbity and that. And then came away from that for a while, started to go soca parties and stuff, started to get crazy in the soca parties, doing the crazy wind up thing, you know what I'm saying? Winding up there, girl, if I could say that. Yeah, anyway, we'll move on.
If it was what you were doing, it was what you were doing.
It's part of my thing, yeah. It was part of part of the craziness. So people started to see that craziness in me. And then when did I start to actually? When was my first booking? 2007, 6, something like that.
Wow.
First book in 2006. Yeah, me and Excel. We wasn't actually big business at that time.
Oh, okay.
You know, we was at a party that he was at because he used to DJ at a lot of different places. And yeah, just jumped on a mic with him. Once again, getting a lot of applause and a lot of recognition. Still didn't really understand what I was doing, but I was enjoying it. So I just carried on, you know, here and there. Then, yeah, literally after that, it was, we made a name, which was big business.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, because I do a lot of bookings by myself at the moment. Yeah. I'm still big business, but a lot of people don't know me as a part of big business.
What now they don't know you as part of
yeah, the people from now,
right,
they don't know that I'm a part of big business.
Oh, okay.
You know? So it's good to let them know that. So the team is big business. Yeah, me and Excel started that. Then Dukes came on.
Dukey.
Yeah, and then we just started to put on raves and parties in the city, you know, that used to come to Mustard Bar. What were some of the other venues that we was at? Can't remember, but there was a lot of venues in the city.
There was a lot of venues. And the thing is, the only name I remember is always Mustard Bar too. But I know all over London.
Yeah, literally every weekend, everything was like clustered together. There was like five different parties in one area. Mm-hmm. And them times there we could do 4 different bookings, jump to different parties, you know, where the city is not on anymore like that. Mm-hmm. We have to be jumping from west to east to north to south where we can't do as much. But that's cool, because I think it's better where we can kind of be in one party and be around our people more. Yeah. But yeah, it was a city that we kind of established ourselves, you know. Yeah, and we used to do I used to take pictures as well, which was very different. You know, do you remember that when I used to take pictures?
Actually, yes, it was you running around with that camera.
Do you remember?
Yeah. Now that I remember, I can remember seeing it around your neck. Am I right?
Yes. So that was the big difference between us and the rest. I used to take all the pictures, you know, do the set, take pictures, then jump to the next party, take pictures, and then literally put it up same night, falling asleep at the computer, but putting up the pictures same night. And that's where the memory of us would last a bit longer than just a DJ in a party. Do you see what I'm saying?
I still have those pictures on my Facebook.
You know, it was different in terms of energy and vibes, where, you know, I'd be in the crowd with a mic and, you know, giving my energy differently as opposed to a DJ that would just be behind the DJ box, you know what I mean? But also an extra thing which would keep us in their minds. And where we were different from the photographers would take 3 days to put up their pictures. I would put it up same night.
So true.
You know, so the buzz is still there, and I'm saying, get on there tonight. And then people are coming in and vibes in on it. So that's where we would have that edge as well. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's what made us stand out from the rest. So mental health wise,
Yeah.
mental health wise,
Mm.
I started to go therapy in
Oh,
2015.
right.
Yeah. Wasn't wasn't really understanding how it was affecting me at that time.
Mm.
But I was in a relationship where it was very toxic on my
Mm.
behalf, a lot on my behalf, I'd say. You know, and I've had
And
that
I
conversation
love
already.
the accountability, so that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, on my behalf. You know, I was doing a lot of cheating. Wasn't happy a lot of the time. There was a lot of arguments and stuff at the time. And you know, now I've actually spoken to my ex, and you know, let her know that I'm sorry I couldn't be there for her. How maybe I can understand now that I should
Mm-hmm.
have been. Do you see what I'm saying? So we've had that
Yeah.
conversation. Um, but yeah, the therapy really helped me to understand accountability, like you just said. It
Yeah,
helped
me
me to
too.
understand boundaries where I
Ooh,
never had any
wee.
boundaries. I
Me
never had any
neither.
boundaries whatsoever. I just let
None.
anyone deal with me any way
Me too.
whatsoever. You know what I mean? And yeah,
With the
it's
boundaries, can we stay
gone.
there for a second?
Yeah.
What was, did you notice, or is this just a me thing, that once you started to establish boundaries, how difficult it was for those that were closest to you to accept those boundaries?
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
100%.
so it's not just a me thing.
No, 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 no. It's you know, people are used to you in a certain capacity.
True.
Um, you know, and the capacity isn't always a great bond with the other person. Sometimes you're, you know, so I understood a lot of my toxicity in 2020 when there was lockdown.
Yes,
It
fair
allowed me
enough.
to
A lot of
pause.
people did. Yeah.
It allowed me to pause and reflect on a lot of stuff, you know, be still. So that was the point where I had a lot of conversations, a lot of difficult conversations
Mm.
with people that had maybe moved away from me and I didn't really understand why.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
a lot of close friends. Um, yeah, and
During
a lot
those
of different,
hard conversations,
yeah.
what were the main things that people were able to point out to you as to why they moved away? Was it a you thing? Was it a situational thing? Or was it a them thing?
So two relationships stand out particularly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say their name.
Okay.
Um, person number one, they felt like I didn't have their back
Uh,
and I was on the fence
mm.
about a certain situation. And at that point, I couldn't see that. But now I can,
Oh, okay.
you know, and, you know, I really had to, you know, apologize for that and, you know, let them know that I didn't mean to make them feel that way. It wasn't intentional, you
Yeah.
know, and um, even though the relationship didn't get back to how it was, which I kind of wanted it to at the time,
Yeah.
it didn't.
Mm.
But there was a bit of healing there for them and definitely for me as well, you know. So that was person number one. Person number two, I guess it was the same thing. A bit of I didn't have their back. They felt like I didn't have their back. Yeah, it was a bit more of the same thing. So yeah, literally another conversation that I had with them, you know, once again, letting them know I am really sorry for that. And
Yeah.
I didn't mean to make you feel that way, you know, and this is another man. And yeah, it was, it was, you know, the things they were saying was, wow, you know, I really felt like you was just ignorant and you just, you know, you had, you know, they felt like it was on purpose. Some people do take it
Ah,
that way.
yes,
I
yes.
understand that, you know.
Some people would assume that you would be self-aware enough to
Right,
know that you were behaving that way. But
right. And I
sometimes it's
wasn't,
not that it's not that. It's you are
I was
behaving that way
emotionally
because it's learned
unavailable.
behavior.
I was gone. I was emotionally unavailable for a long
Yeah,
time of my life, majority of my life, you know, due to past traumas when I was young, due
right.
to relationships with you know, the elders that was taking care of me and whatnot, and you know, friends and stuff. So yeah, it's you know, that's a lot of healing that I got to do as well with that. You know, I'm
Mhm.
trying to at the moment uh heal my inner child. That's what I'm trying to do
I
at the
think that's
moment.
where each and every one of us needs to start. That when I started therapy, I didn't
Mm,
start as soon as you did. I think I did it in 2022,
mm,
and I walked in that door a broken person.
yeah.
I poured out all my stories, everything that I didn't even know was connected to things, and cried and slobbered and bawl and for at least 2 or 3 sessions, it was just a complete pour out, a
Was
release.
that straight away? Yeah.
Yeah, I had asked because I've been on medication for over 10 years for their diagnosis of bipolar.
Right.
So it had just felt like my life was like this. I felt nothing. I was just
Mm,
numb. So even the good times were just kind of bleh, and
yes.
the bad times were kind of bleh.
Yes.
So I got to a stage where I said to my GP, I want to feel. I feel nothing. I've been
Mm,
through a lot, and all of the trauma had gotten me to this numb yet broken state, is the only way I can put it. So when I spoke to them, I said, I'm stopping the medication. So they rushed around and made sure I was put into therapy, which I'm really, really grateful for because I met a wonderful therapist. But after those sessions, once I walked in and she was like, okay, we've now done the what happened to you and everything you've been through. Now, where do we go from here? What did you do? And I was so offended. I was like, me? It wasn't me. They did this, they did that. She goes, yes, but you were a part of all of these situations. So what
mm,
was your role in it? And once I started to learn to take accountability for me, to learn how to apologize, and not just to my elders, but to my children too, I found a new kind of freedom.
mm.
I can apologize and it releases me and it releases them. Now, not everybody accepts it. Some people are just like, no, I'm good on you. So be it. There's nothing I can do about that. But in
Mm.
the situations where the apology is understood, and to me, an apology isn't just I'm sorry or I apologize, it's changed behavior.
There's
So
five
that's,
stages to apology. I don't know if you know that.
oh, please, please. Can you tell us, please?
I can't tell you off the top.
Can you give us a couple?
You'd have to Google it right now. Yeah, I can't even say.
It's all right. I'll put
Yeah,
something in here that shows them and they'll come up. But
yeah.
for me, I don't know the 5 stages. I just know that by that unforgiveness was what was clogging my heart.
Mm,
Unforgiveness was what was stopping me from being able to find new relationships and new connections because I was so guarded and I didn't trust anybody. I was paranoid because a lot of the closest relationships to me was the ones that I lost once I
mm.
started working through my behavior and then having, like you said, to have the hard conversations. Not a lot of people want to have those conversations, Kappa.
Hmm.
And when you start trying to, they are quick to retreat because it's uncomfortable for them. And a lot of people are used to the whole brushing things under the carpet until the carpet becomes something on the top of a mountain.
Yes.
And then you've got to plow through all that crap. I'm okay to do it. I
Mm,
firmly believe that I am a generational pattern breaker because I can see it.
yes.
So if I can see it, I have to be able to do something about it. I am a very solution based person. and especially over my children, I don't want them to have to deal with the learned behavior that they got from the toxicity
Mm.
they've seen. However, I'm not going to just be able to undo it like that because I don't have little babies that I can mold anymore. They're now grown adults with their own learned behavior. So when it comes to trying to move through therapy, dealing with people that also need to do their own healing journey, how did you navigate through that? You're doing therapy, you're learning self-awareness, accountability, how to apologize, what your toxic traits are, talking through what you went through as a child, healing your inner child. But no one else around you really understands what that journey looks like. How do you explain it?
Well, it's about understanding that not everybody is at your level, because that
Ah,
will cause a lot of, you know, a lot of expectation, will cause a lot of disappointment. You know what I mean? So
amen. Yep.
I was still navigating that as well. You know what I mean? So, it was just about me clearing out my rubbish. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
first and
Understanding my
foremost.
toxic behaviors and
Mm-hmm.
accountability and boundaries. If you're not at that point at the moment, I got to kind of step back. I've stepped away from a lot of family members. You know what I mean? And it's not on a nah, I don't like you. It's on a
No,
I love you from a distance. Yeah.
yeah,
If you're ready to come and talk to me about something specific, no problem. But
amen. Yep.
I've had to just step back. Yeah.
I've had to say
Yeah.
this. It sounds like we're kind of doing and have been doing very parallel things. And I notice there is a trend amongst people that I see intentionally healing,
Yes.
that they do end up having such conflict with the closest people to them, which for
Mm,
me was one of the most painful parts of this journey, was having to realize that I can keep explaining myself, but
mm.
if they can't receive it, then I'm just going to be hitting a
Draining
wall.
yourself.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then ending up wondering why I can't get up and do anything. It's because I'm constantly trying to explain myself and make everybody else feel comfortable with my healing journey. Everybody
Draining.
seemed really comfortable with my quiet and never rocking the boat type self, and who's the yes person with no boundaries. Everyone was very pleased with that version of me. But this version of me that says, actually, we need to discuss this. And it is not from a place of judgment ever. It's more of a
Mm,
place of clarity. And
mm.
it is it is a love that you can't explain when you are really trying to work through things rather than just say, oh, okay, I forgive you. Forgiveness has its work. It's not just a
Mm,
word. And I found that part difficult. It's been real hard because I love
mm.
my family. I am a family orientated person. I'm a function girl. I love a party,
Yeah.
especially with my family. But what I realized was that my healing journey was causing so much conflict, but I know I'm doing the right thing. And I
Mm,
now know my mind. It's no longer a question because I check me first before I speak to
mm.
anyone else. So once I come to you with an authority, it's because I've already done the work within me, so that I can come to you and say, right, I realize that this is the part I can't do because it's attached to you. How about
Yes.
me? Most people don't like that, Kappa, and I don't understand why. Help.
Sending you a virtual hug.
It's I
Yeah.
love them, but I can't keep doing the same thing over and over again because I know what insanity feels like. It's
Yeah, yeah.
dark there.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, as I now tell my kids, to search for the joy, search
Mm,
for beauty. Because it's so easy to see the darkness in the current
mm.
climate that we live in. So you've got to intentionally look for light. You've got to intentionally do the work within yourself so that you are able to contribute to a more mentally healthy society. But
It's a
not
process.
everybody wants to do that.
It's a process.
Yeah.
the castle that we build to protect ourselves becomes a prison.
Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. And
Mm.
it takes courage. Yeah. I'm forever giving thanks to the courage for actually taking that journey of breaking down that castle brick by brick,
Mm.
because I wasn't living my life.
Yeah.
I was not
Just
living my life. I
carried
was just
along.
staying in my comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know? And like you said, you can't, if you're stuck in that castle, the good times are not really that good because
They're
you're
not.
very guarded. Like your happy times are not really that happy.
Mm-mm.
Um, and the rewards that came with feeling the fear and doing things anyway, the rewards, it's like I never thought I could be in this type of happiness and contentment and freedom that I am feeling at the moment. It is super draining, yeah. And I'm talking about, like I told you, my fear of flying
Yeah.
was crazy, yeah. It's just things like that, and our childhood traumas and things that happened to us over the years cause us to have these sorts of fears.
Yeah.
Our environment, things that we see. So, for instance, the fear of flying. There was a point where I was pretending that I wasn't scared, and I had a nervous breakdown of flying
Oh.
while I was on the plane.
Ooh.
So that then made me stop flying for a while.
How long was a while?
When was the last flight that I had? So when RJS was doing their thing, that last one was
Wow.
like 2015, 14. I mean, I was having one or two flights here
So
and
how did
there,
you
but
manage that? How did you manage to do that? 'Cause I would never have known.
I was focused on, things like at the beginning of it, I was focused on things like deleting all the stuff off my phone that I didn't need. That was helping me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The distraction.
yeah, distracting myself. It's not, distractions ain't always healthy, but there's only a point where you can distract yourself and then kind of work through a healthy way of dealing with it. Um, that was the initial thing I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Movies weren't really helping me. It was weren't helping me. But then there was a point where I was just kind of focusing on making skits. I don't know if you've seen my flying anxiety skits.
I've seen
Uh,
one or two, I'm sure.
yeah, but there was a point where I was getting a lot of calls about abroad bookings.
Mm.
No, I'm not available. No, I'm not available. When I'm available, but I'm just scared. I'm just scared to fly. And I don't know, something just what was the trigger that made me? I started to. So for the longest time, I was taking my hosting as a side hustle.
Right.
The longest time, I was working jobs I didn't like, uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, parcel deliveries, doing all these jobs that I did not like, making them my main focus, and having my hosting as a side hustle.
Mm.
There was a point where I said, you know what? It's time to start taking this serious.
Let go of the safety net.
Right. Let go of the safety net and start taking this serious, because there is that big battle between your passion and making money, your passion and
Yeah.
making money. It was very difficult at first, very difficult financially, very, very difficult. And there was many times where I thought to myself, no, I got to go back. I got to go back to this. I got to go back to doing the parcels and whatnot. But I didn't. I didn't. I didn't. And yeah, I'm here. It's still a bit difficult because I'm consistent. I'm out every weekend, but the money is almost matching up, and I'm seeing the amount of work that I'm putting in. I'm seeing rewards from that, because there was a point where I was really scared of social media and I didn't like it. I said to myself, this social media thing is almost the forefront of anything you are doing.
Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah.
you are in, regardless of the field you're in. So then I started to study it. Going on YouTube and studying the gurus of social media. Next minute now, I'm editing up videos on Cappachxno, and I'm now a pro. Not a
Yay.
pro, really, really good at doing these videos and stuff. And I'm really enjoying the seeing the outcome of these little challenges. You know, it's where I used to stick into my comfort zone and hide away from challenges. I'm now looking for the challenges.
That's amazing.
It's amazing, Mike. It's amazing.
It is
And this
amazing. I know that feeling of now fear, anxiety is no longer what drives you or stops you or
no, but it is.
runs your life.
I use my anxiety to drive me towards.
Yeah, not as in it's not
It's
oppressing
not
you.
disabling me.
Yeah, it's now that you know what fear and anxiety is. I always say to people, anxiety is the fear of what if. It is
Yes.
what if this happens? What if they feel this? Or what if they react to that?
Yes.
And the other thing I say to my kids is, did you die? You have to keep moving, because if you allow anxiety to stop you, you block your own blessings. We weren't we weren't meant to have anxiety. We were given sound minds. Fear is an enemy of ours, but it is so crippling. My main tangible anxiety was not being able to drive on motorways and drive in the dark.
Yes.
It just, all of a sudden, I think I'd had an accident and just up the road from here. It was a local accident, but it was a truck that sort of squeezed my car, and I actually felt my car closing in on me. And from that moment, I just had this driving anxiety of I couldn't do it. I could be a passenger sometimes, but even then, I'm seeing all of the accidents that could possibly occur ahead of me. And like, people are crazy. I can't be on the motorways. But we were on the motorway all the time, going to raves from London to Birmingham. We were
Yes.
going to Brighton. We were doing all of those parties, and I was always out driving late. We were in convoys driving late. So it's like,
Yes.
where has this come from? I know that it's not as scary as my mind is telling me, but I just couldn't do it. But then my son needed me to get on the motorway, because without my car, we wouldn't have been able to go and celebrate his 16th in Thorpe Park.
Right.
And he had a couple of friends come down from Manchester. And I managed to I got on the motorway, and then within 10 minutes, I was like, this is easy. What was the problem? But it was really what was going on up here. It has nothing to do with the actual driving itself. It was anxiety had taken
Yes.
over, and it was just unreasonable, but as you said, disabling. Anxiety is cruel. It takes over so much of what you could be doing, and I'm so glad to hear that you're using it to push you forward. Because I do
Mm,
believe it is a block, that there's a reason why that anxiety is there. So that if you push past that, you get to the next level. So it's there for
mm,
a reason to stop you from getting to the next level. But now, just like you, if I start to feel fear, if I start to feel opposition, I'm like, I've got to plow through this because there's
right.
something the other side of this, why it's
Yeah.
trying to block me. And it's working so far, I think.
The rewards are energizing, and
Aren't
it
they?
makes me realize, yeah, I'm ready to go to the next level, and it just keeps going. It's
Yeah.
it's it's about it's about rebuilding that trust with yourself.
Yes. First and foremost, yes.
You know,
You have to trust
there was a
yourself.
point when the self the self talk the self talk was just so loud.
Mm.
Don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. Stop. Stop. Just stay here. Stay right here. Don't move. Ah!
I know that
But
one.
now I'm like, I'm walking past the voices,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, I do get caught up in that sometimes, but
Yeah.
the
That's
majority of
natural
the
though.
time I'm moving forward. And that feeling there, the feeling of being stagnant
Oh,
it brings depression, it brings all of these things. So yeah, it's all about feeling like you are moving forward.
I think that is the main goal we should have. There is no finish line because we don't know which day is our last. But each day, because healing is not something, oh, you get to, I'm healed, I'm done. It is something you will be doing until your last day. And for me, I've accepted that if I can be a disappointing human, other people will be disappointing humans too. So I
Mm-hmm.
learned a lot about giving grace, mercy,
Oh
and
yes.
understanding that the flaws I have are mine, just like the flaws other people have are theirs.
Mm,
Sometimes I'm going to be able to work past those flaws because it depends on the connection. And for them, with me too, some people don't like me, and that's absolutely fine. I'm no longer in a space now where I'm like, oh, no, but why don't you like me? And what can I do to change it so that you do like me? What did I
mm,
do?
people pleasing.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh, it was so exhausting. I
yes,
literally burnt out of pleasing people.
yes.
But then once I turned into the version of me that still is someone that serves. It's who I am. It's in the core of me. I love
Mm,
helping. I love love. So I am always going to serve. But I now have levels to this thing.
mm,
There are levels to how much I will serve. There is an underlying understanding in certain situations where I expect reciprocation because of what's going on and what the relationship is. There's other ones where I don't, that I don't
mm,
mind pouring into because I get poured into somewhere else. But
mm.
I also learned that if my cup is empty, I can't help you.
Yes.
And I felt so bad before Kappa. If my cup was empty and I'm literally crawling along, I'm wanting
And
to
you
pull
can't
myself
serve
up
the
to help
person.
someone
Yes.
else.
Yes.
And I'm just like, the whole put your own gas mask on first.
Yes.
I'm the fool that's running around the plane putting on everybody else's
Getting
and
gassed up. Getting
and
gassed. Yeah.
dying at the
Can't breathe.
when
Yeah.
everybody was cool. They could have reached up themselves. I
Mm,
tried too hard. I was doing too much. It wasn't necessary, and it hasn't been necessary in the relationships I now have. I now have less, but more quality in the connections I
mm,
have with people. There are
mm,
those that I can be totally 100% transparent and authentic, silly, goofy, the whole version of me. And
mm.
they love me in its entirety. There's those that can only take, you know, because there's a lot of me. And
Yeah.
I've now gotten to a space where I love me. There's only one Mylisha. There's
Yes.
just me. And
Yes.
I can't be anybody else, and I don't want to be anyone else.
Right.
I don't compare anymore because I know that's the theft of
Oh,
joy.
that's the biggest.
Listen, comparing is the biggest theft of joy ever.
Yes. Yes.
Why am I watching what anybody has, what they look like, where they live, what they drive? I don't know what it took for them to get any of those things. And they
It's
don't know
very
what it's
difficult
taken
at the
to be
moment,
me.
though. It's very difficult because of social media.
It's made
It's
it
very
very
difficult.
difficult. But that's what I'm
Very.
teaching my kids is you don't know what it took, what was happening before they shot that reel. And you don't
Yes.
know what happened after that story. It's
Yes.
all a highlight reel. I even say about my own social media. It's there for me to go back on my darker days. Like, no, there is light, there is light.
Mm,
It's not really for anybody else. Now it
mm.
is as I'm sharing my mental health journey and stories and whatnot. But it's a highlight reel. It doesn't show when there's snot running down my face and I'm lying face flat down on the ground and screaming and begging for God to fix it all and surrendering my life to Him because I just couldn't do it by myself anymore. I'm not gonna grab a quick camera and start filming all of that and then
Yeah,
upload
yeah, yeah.
that on social media.
Yeah, no,
I,
I've started to kind of do that. Not obviously kicking on the floor and that, but
no, but I think
just
that is a good thing because it's having just this highlight reel. Why everyone's like, oh, everyone else's life is looking so much better than mine. I personally don't kick and scream like that anymore. Trust me, it happens every now and again. But
mm,
what I now do is when situations happen, I I record how my brain is working through it.
what's going on for you? Yes,
Yeah. And then it usually resonates with somebody else. Because
right,
although we're all extremely different, our problems aren't all that, really far apart.
one
They
hundred
all have
percent.
like the same type of essence to them.
Yes,
It helps. And that's why I'm doing this is I don't mind sharing. Sometimes people think I overshare, but I don't mind because if it helps one other person, or it even helps me for me to get it out of me, what's the problem?
that's important. That is important. I feel like social media is a very big disconnect
Mm,
because social media is the only thing some people have to see outside. Some people might be isolated, and all they're seeing is everybody's life is great apart from mine. So when they see, oh, Kappa, the great host who's traveling all over the world, does actually have anxiety. He is human. Because people think I'm not, like in their mind, they feel like I'm not human and I'm the most confident person in the world.
mm,
No, I'm not. I just understand the importance of pushing through the fear to get
yeah,
to where I need to, and I do get anxiety and there are days where I do not want to leave my house. There's
yeah,
days when I do not want to leave my bed, but I realize and understand the importance of no, get out the house now. And I may not have anything to do outside, but I just need to get outside, whether it's a
yeah,
walk in the park, just being outside and being seen. Oh, it's not so scary out here.
yeah.
All right, I can carry on with what I need to do, you know?
It can be more scary in the isolation, to be honest. Um, but when you're going through your healing journey, whether you're doing it with faith, through therapy, however, whatever suits, because it is different for each person, what advice would you give someone who hears this and is like, I want to push through? I
Mm.
really feel this fear and this anxiety, but I don't want it anymore. What would you give? What advice would you give them?
Get out the house. Get out of the house. I've actually got anxiety of crowds. Would you call that again? Sorry, what was it?
Crowd.
Anxiety of being in crowds. I've had that for a while. But
How did you manage to do what you were doing with that?
I was using a persona. I was using,
Wow,
there was a
Kappa.
point where I realized I was using a persona. Cappachxno was a persona from, so my real name is Sadiq, yeah? There was a big, big gap between them two, a very big gap. And I used to put on a persona to be Cappachxno at the beginning.
I put on a persona to be my Miller.
Right. There was a persona there. There was a personality.
Yeah.
Initially to
Initially, yeah.
help me transition to that personality. But then through the therapy, you know, that gap was getting smaller and smaller. Yeah. And now they are the same person, just dealing with things different ways, you know. So yeah, I mean, initially, if you have to put on a persona, cool with it. That's what it is. That's what I did. You know what I mean? But yeah, don't stay there because you feel like, you know, I definitely had a lot of imposter syndrome, a lot.
Yeah.
You know, but I've worked through that through my therapy.
That I think that would be another one then as well is therapy. Is if you're going to get out of your house at all, get out of your house, go to therapy.
Yes.
That helped me.
Yeah. No, I was getting to that. I was getting to that as well. But I feel like therapy is a taboo between, especially amongst Black people, especially amongst Black men.
Speak on it. Speak on it.
You know, for some people, I feel like maybe getting outside, just being outside, walk out the door, put on your clothes and walk out the door. Stop staying in your yards. Stop staying in your bedroom. I feel like that's the initial thing. Daily, start getting out every other day. However you got to do it for yourself, get out your house. Stay out your yard, yeah? Get out your house. You're not necessarily going to anywhere specifically, but get out of your house. Go to the park, walk down the street. Another thing for me, which I learned after therapy, was journaling.
Ah, yes.
Writing down my thoughts and feelings. Yeah? I didn't understand what the hell I was feeling and thinking until I did that. Yeah? My thoughts and feelings were like a ball of string. Yeah? And then once I started to write stuff down, it started to unravel and become a line. And it started to become a lot more clear to me.
Journaling does help.
Journaling is a big one. Sorry, go on, yeah.
No, I was just saying, I'm not as consistent with it as I would like to be, but I have one which I have put all of the revelations that I seem to receive and just the Holy Spirit type stuff that I
you've got different books.
Experience. Yeah, and then I've got the one that's just about me. So there's one where I like write letters to God, and then it's just I have two different ones. One's just full of like lessons and things that I've learned, but then the other one's more emotional and it's more open and real. It's like me pouring out how I actually feel, and it really does help. I wish I had I need to have the discipline, not even I wish, I will have, and I need to have the discipline to do it daily because each day is different to the next. And I've only been on my healing journey for the last couple of years. Considering I'm in my 40s, I've got some ways to go. Yeah. I'm just proud that I'm on the journey, that I'm on the train, I'm on the way. And I'm who I am now. I've always known her. but she was just locked up inside me. She was
Mm,
a mixture of who I, my Leisha and my. She's just one person, but my was a facade, and my Leisha was the inner child, who just wanted someone to validate her. I don't need that anymore. I
mm,
validate myself by working through my thought process. And when it comes to healing, one of the main pieces of advice I would give is to give yourself grace.
mhm,
To know that there are going to be days when you're still triggered. There's going
mhm,
to be days when you don't feel like you've moved at all. There's going to be days when you are just so ecstatic and you can feel the change, and then boom, something happens again, and then you're wondering if you've done any work.
mm,
You you lose relationships that have been a foundation for you. It's not an easy journey, but, and I say this with everything in me, it is the most worthwhile thing I've ever done. I now feel just like you that that ball, that overthinking, that going through everything over and over and over again, so it was now is more because I've
unraveled, yeah.
worked through it, and anything I can't change, I don't hold on to.
Mhm,
I stand on my boundaries as much as people don't like it. At first, it was painful, but now I just feel more confident because I know who I am. And I know that my boundaries aren't to harm you. My boundaries are to protect everybody involved
mhm,
because there are different versions of me. But I give myself grace. I forgive myself for all of the things I may have done that
mm,
are much lesser than who I should have been. I don't look back on all that and be like, oh, I'm in my 40s now. That's it now. I live each day like waking up like I'm Snow White and hearing birds tweet, singing and whatnot outside because I'm grateful now for life. Whereas I used to wake up feeling, oh gosh, I got to do this again.
mm,
I now wake up thinking, I get to do this again. Each
mhm.
day is a gift to me, which is a huge, huge change from where I was. And that's why I will be an advocate of moving from that place, but being able to do it with love, with forgiveness, with grace, with knowing that it is going to be a bumpy road. You are going to lose certain things because you're no longer who the person that you're leaving behind. You're never going to be that again. You're
Yeah,
only going to go from strength to strength to strength. But it takes work, it takes sacrifice, it takes loss, it
yeah.
takes, but it also it includes so much joy.
Yes,
Your laughter is now real.
yes.
You know what I mean, Kappa? Like
Ah, 100%. I
your
remember
laughter is, yeah.
I used to, so when I used to take pictures, I used to grin, even though I was mad unhappy. And people
Mm.
ask me, why don't I smile now in pictures when I'm even more happy than I was back in the day? So before it was all about looking happy.
Oh yeah, that's it. That is it.
Oh, it was all about not
Looking.
letting people see how unhappy I was.
Mm-hmm. It's
And yeah,
so
that
many
laughter is
people
real now.
do that. If
Yeah, that
more
laughter
people do
is
that
real.
than actually genuinely feel how they say they're feeling, most
Yeah.
people don't have these conversations. They don't feel comfortable enough to. They don't know anyone that they can have that conversation with. I know I'm meant to help build a nation of sound minds. And by
Mm,
doing it through love, Kappa, by
yeah.
saying, I did it. I lay there in the darkness, even with my eyes open, still dark. I've done it. I did that road. I made a choice that I can keep doing that dark circle because it was just, that's all it was. The smile on my face, the pictures on my social media may make you think different. But this is it.
Mm,
As soon as I climbed back, came in this house, I climbed right back in my bed. And it was like taking off like a snake taking off its skin.
yeah.
That's what it felt like. Whereas now I am authentically who I was ever, always meant to be. And I want that for everyone, especially our children, because they have a lot more information and resources than we ever had.
Yeah.
So we might as well allow them to use it. It's hard in our community because mental health is not something you get to really discuss with your elders. You can't go back to your parents and say, this traumatized me, and you actually have a decent conversation about it. It actually gets, well, in what I've seen in my situation, in other people's, it can get really rocky when you start.
I've had that. I actually had that conversation, and yeah,
Yeah.
the initial reaction was, "You're ungrateful for all I've done."
Mm.
And then yeah, I was kind of snappy myself, and then it took a few sessions before I actually penetrated the exterior, and let them know, okay, so what was happening here for you? Because for me, this was
Mm.
happening, and that was with my mum.
Yeah.
But yeah, with my dad, it's a bit more. I've had an initial conversation,
Yeah.
but still got to have a few more conversations with him. But
Do
yeah,
you think those
that's the funny
conversations?
thing.
Sorry,
Say
no,
again,
go ahead.
when you were saying before, like you're in your 40s, I
Yeah.
feel like it's important to do it now because you get a bit more stuck in the mud as you get along. In your 50s and 60s. So
It's
yeah,
just I am who I am, to take it and
right.
or leave it.
That's it.
I don't
Stuck.
ever want to get to that, if I'm honest with you. I always want to be able to be moldable. I always want to
Yeah.
be able to take criticism with grace and elegance. I want to be able people to help me grow well into my last days. I don't want to
Yeah.
be that person that's like, no, well, this is it. No, that's not
Yeah,
cute.
and that's the thing, where I had resentment for my parents for so long, I've
Mm,
learned to give them the grace
yeah.
because, they, all they knew as a parent was, food on the table, roof over the
Mm,
head, and, love was discipline,
yeah.
you know, love was discipline. They didn't understand, as a parent myself now, I understand the most important thing
Yeah.
is emotional support.
Whew. It
It's
changes
that's one of the most
everything.
right. That's the most important thing as a parent. My personal experience as a parent, they did not understand that. And having that conversation with my mum, she came over from Dominica when she was 7. She was sent over on a boat by herself.
Oh, wow.
Hold this sign. You're going to get collected at the other side.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wee.
And then when she got here, she had to live with her dad, who was with a wife who didn't want any other kids in the house. So
Mm.
she was kind of rejected from there. And then when her mum came over, her mum had a job where she had to look after my mum had to look after her sisters and brothers because she was the eldest. So it's like both houses she went to, she never got that. There was never any that love, you know what I mean? There was never
She
that.
was never the child.
Right. So,
Yeah.
I
How
now
do
that
you
I've had
know?
that
Yeah.
conversation, now that I've had that
That's
conversation
why
with
you
her,
have
I
to be able to
understand and
forgive
and
your
and
parents.
that grace. I can give her that grace now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They have their own stories that we will never know. They have their own traumas that even if they tell us part of the stories, we will never know.
Mm,
So one thing that is definitely needed, especially with our parents, is grace. However, you still have to have your boundaries. So
boundaries.
that's when the two kind of hits and they clash. Is yes, I give you grace because you don't get it. However, my boundary is still my boundary. And
Yes.
I'm trying to explain to you the best I know how that this boundary is here because it needs to be here. It's not just for everybody else. It includes
Mm,
you. And that was a hard one, I think. I think it's a hard one for Caribbean parents to get is hold on boundaries with who. But yeah,
mm,
you my our parents played a part in our childhood traumas, just like
100%.
their parents played a part in their is generational. I've played
Generate.
a part in my children's childhood traumas. I've had to
Yes.
accept that. Mum guilt aside, I don't have time for it. What is the solution now? How do we move forward now? How do we ensure that they learn positive lessons from that toxicity, positive lessons from seeing certain things that children shouldn't see or be around or whatnot? What do we do now so that the adults they become, that if they choose to have children of their own, that that won't be the case? Because our children are supposed to be an upgrade and an improvement on who we are.
Yes.
But for me, with my children, it starts with their emotional maturity. Everything else stems from that. Because once they have that as a foundation, they are a lot more stable than
Yes.
if they're constantly swaying with everything that happens. Because our feelings are deceitful. Just
Yeah.
call a spade a spade. You can be so angry about something just because of your perspective, just because of what your childhood trauma or teenage trauma taught you. You could be seeing a situation completely wrong, but in your mind, it's completely right because of your perspective. I don't
Yes.
want that for me or my children anymore. I want them to know that they can be wrong and it's okay, and I can be wrong and it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Nobody died. So how do we move forward?
I
And
like how you go back to Did You Die? I love that.
yeah, it's. I think it's from see back in the day, Hangover, one of the Hangover movies.
Yes. I
Yeah,
remember that.
like,
Yes.
did you die?
Yeah. You're still here
But it's
to live another
true.
day and move on and heal
Let's keep,
and yes.
let's keep it moving because not, and that's not to say you don't get to process how you're feeling. It doesn't mean that you don't get to validate for yourself how you're feeling. It
No, that's
doesn't
part of the
mean,
moving forward. That whole
yeah,
process
but
of healing is about moving
all
forward.
of
Yeah.
that is included, but you can't just stop. It's not you can have what I do with my kids is have F it days, and it's not the swear word version, it's forget it days. So when my son was doing stuff for his GCSEs and he was having emotional problems, it's not academic, and that is the foundation. As I said, I'd say, okay, fine, we're not going in today. We're going to eat what we want, we're going to watch what we want, we're going to do what we want, and then we're going to see how we feel tomorrow morning and take it from
Yes.
there.
Oh,
That
that's wonderful.
made such a difference. And I was like, yes, this is how I know. I used my own children as my first case studies before building my business to help kids. Because if I wouldn't do it with my own, then I won't do it with anybody else's. And what I did was say to my kids, your emotional well-being is more important than any attendance record or any
Brilliant.
grade that you can redo. And there are so many different roads to get to the same place. So if you're emotionally unstable, you're not going on any road because you're going
Yes.
to be stuck there. So what we're going to do is have a forget it day. We're going to watch and eat what we want. We're going to chill. We're going to just breathe. We're going to cry. We're going to not cry. And then we're going to try again tomorrow. And it worked. He smashed his GCSEs because his
That is,
emotions were dealt with. His foundation, his core was stable. And now he is the most confident young man because he showed himself what he was capable of doing now that he can regulate his emotions better. I wish I'd known that at 18, but as long as I can teach it to mine, thank you. I'm grateful. Our children need to see us do it first. They don't learn by the do as I say, not as I do. They learn by seeing what we do. So for my children, I'm like, I will be the first case study too. They're going to watch me heal the ugliness, the beauty of it all. I tell them, I speak to them, not everything, they're still my kids, but I let them see the journey. That is not that
yes.
pretty picture that they put on TikTok. It is, it's hard, it is gritty, it is worth it though. It is the best thing I've ever done. And I'm grateful that I did it with both faith and therapy because I feel like I have such a foundation that goes so deep that I won't be shaken like I used to be. I'm not saying there won't be storms. I'm not saying that we're not going to, because, well, we all know what the world looks like right now, babe. But I am just grateful for my healing journey. I'm
Yeah.
grateful for your healing journey.
Yeah.
I want more people to heal and get on their own journeys. So, my final question to you is as a Black man, what advice would you give to your peers, your fellow Black men about their mental health?
Seek therapy. Do journaling. Yeah. There's a
How do
thing
we get
called
them to do it without thinking that the stigma that's attached to it and this taboo that's attached to it? How do we move past that? Because I find that that is the only blockade that's stopping us from having more emotionally mature men.
it's an individual job. Like I'm there was a point where I was trying to force people to do stuff. I don't do
Mm,
that anymore. I just
yeah.
live my life, show what I'm doing. Those who
Mm,
come to me for advice, I give them advice. Until then, I just live my life. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
understood.
That's it. Like,
You have to put your own gas mask on first. And
right.
those that want, there are people that will gravitate towards you anyway.
Yes.
Like for you and I, we gravitated back towards each other because we have this healing in common.
Mm,
And I think of having anything in common, healing is such a beautiful thing. Because yes, there's all the difficulty that comes with it, but as we've said, the rewards, self-awareness is really good. I love being aware of where, oh, oops, that was me. Put my hand up, that was me. Sorry.
yeah. Yeah.
Whereas, and then also being, you're stepping too close to a
Yep.
boundary now. So being able to now know and navigate through that allows me to then move on to the next level of who I'm supposed to be, the rooms I'm supposed to be in, the people I'm supposed to meet, so that I can build this nation. Because it is my purpose to take all of the pain I've experienced and not be a victim of it all, but
Mm,
to pay it forward. To be like,
yes.
okay, this is what I've been through, and this is how I managed to get through it the other side. It's going to be different for you. I'm here to hold your hand through it. I'm here to give you some of the tools I was given. I'm here to get you in touch with other people that will know exactly what you need or that you can talk to.
Mm,
That's all I want is everybody to know you are loved, you are seen, you are understood, you are valuable, you
you
are
can get through
needed,
it.
and you can do this. That's
Yes.
what I keep saying. If I can do it, and I don't mean that to sound like I'm putting myself down at all, but I was in a place once where I never, ever
You've
would
been
have
in the
thought.
depths.
Right, I've been in the pit, at the bottom of the pit, the darkest pit ever. I never
Yes.
thought I'd see light again, and didn't see this version of me coming so soon. For starters, and knowing this is just the beginning. It
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
beautiful to go through, no matter how difficult it can become. And I want to help as many people get onto that journey and find who they are authentically, and for them to find their tribes of people who can love them unconditionally and be able to have communities of people that really treat each other better now and work through themselves first rather than the constant pointing at everybody else. But we have been talking for a good while, and I'm so grateful. And I really want to do a good few more episodes with you, Gina, because
Yeah.
Kappa, because I have so much more to say on this subject. It is such a vast subject.
Very.
So, what I would like you to do is give everybody your social medias so that they know where to find you in your funny, wonderful videos.
So I am on all the social medias: Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Facebook. You can find me on at CAPPACHXNO. One more time: CAPPACHXNO.
Cappachxno.
That's right. That's
Oh,
right.
my darling, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for your journey. Thank you for agreeing to be this honest and this useful. You have no idea how many people are going to have a breakthrough from probably just hearing us. And even if it's just a couple, I don't
Mm,
mind
that's
because
it.
it has a ripple effect. Everybody deserves to heal. And as many people as we can get to heal, let's do this. So thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you for
I'm
being with
happy
me
that you
today.
got me on, man. This has been a very energizing conversation. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm really grateful. And pray that we will have many, many more, because you do have a sense of wisdom now because you've had to go through it. It's not just something you read, it's not just knowledge, it's wisdom. So you've applied what you've learned, and I see the difference in you. You glow. There's not just a thing that women do. You can see when someone has a light in them again. And I can understand that where that darkness was, and that you were just putting on this smile and this pretense, but you can usually tell through the eyes that
the
the light's
eyes.
not quite there. But
Mm,
your light's there, my darling, and I'm so grateful for you.
thank you so much, man. Cool.
Thank you for being here, and thank you everybody for watching. We would love to know how you're feeling, what you've done in your healing journey. If there's any tips that you have, please put them in the comments. And this little light will be back with you very soon. Take care. Love you all. Bye.